Hi, this is going to be a video on the GaussianBlur WS. WS stands for the world space. So this is how we're able to create objects that look transparent but blurred. Our first part here is our texture input. We can have a custom texture input, or we can use the camera opaque texture. And we're going to use the camera opaque texture if this boolean is true. The camera opaque texture is exactly what it sounds like. This is a texture that's given to us via that's outputted by Unity, and it does not include any transparencies. So if you want a transparent object to be rendered within the blur, you're going to want to pass in a render texture or your own custom texture, and then you want to also set the use opaque texture to false. Your sampler state here is just how you're going to sample your texture, and that can be easily changed using these. Your screen position is maps the screen to the render texture, and if you're going to want any distortion in that, you're going to want to edit it before it goes into the custom function. As long as it stays a vector 4, you'll be fine. Your get screen params gets the width and height, creates it into a vector 2, and feeds it into our custom function. Our iterations and kernels, we have a number here called blur scale. This is how much we're going to blur the texture. We have a custom function here that divides it into two different numbers. So we have our iterations and our kernel. So our iterations is a loop, and if we loop too many times, we're gonna hit our frames per second and it's not gonna look good. So what we have is a kernel. So if we're looping too many times, we're going to increase our kernel size, and then we can loop less and have the same blur. So those feed into our custom function, and this blurs the texture. And then we have our polishing going on, where we can adjust the lightness, the tint, and the saturation. And then we can feed that to our PBR master. Obviously, since this is a PBR master, we can also adjust the metallicness of the material, and we can also adjust the smoothness. So this is more of how the texture is going to shine on the surface.